Hey everyone, this is Gerald. I'm 28 years old, and my story starts in 2016. A rough year. I felt like something was wrong for months or even years, like the threat of leukemia was always there. There were clear signs: constant pain, night sweats, and an unpleasant feeling of being sick. I went to the gym in November of that year and did my usual exercise. That day, though, something was very different. I had a strange weakness and a creepy feeling that something was very wrong. I passed out while trying to get water. Everything around me turned into darkness. After a few minutes or maybe even seconds, I woke up to the worried faces of gym workers hovering above me. What they said was hard to make out. "Are you okay?" "I'm not sure," was all I could muster. They gave me a Gatorade to get my energy back, and I still felt shaken as I drove home. The swelling on my left side, where the pain had been, got worse over the next few days. The area turned a horrible purple color, and I knew I could no longer ignore it. As the pain got worse, I had to go to the emergency room. While we waited for the blood test results, my parents came with me. Their faces were filled with worry. Then there was the moment when my fear became clear. The doctor leaned on the trash can next to me instead of sitting down to give me the bad news. "You have chronic myelogenous leukemia." My parents broke down in tears, but I felt relieved for some reason. It turned out to be true, what I had been afraid of for months. I was calm, even though I could see the pain in my parents' eyes as they thought about losing me. But that wasn't the worst part of my situation. When the experts and oncologists got together, they gave more bad news. "We've done a thorough investigation. Not only is your situation long-lasting, it's also very bad. You have an abnormally high number of white blood cells, which means you have a high chance of getting acute leukemia, which is very violent and usually ends in death." When I was 21, I was given this rare and scary diagnosis. The choices that were given were clear. First, keep treating the chronic myelogenous leukemia, which has a 50-50 chance of turning into acute leukemia and needing a bone marrow donation. The other option is to get quick high-level hospital care that aims to reverse the severe state and might even lead to remission, depending on things like diet, mental health, and medication adherence. But the treatment plan was very strict, and there was a big chance that it would cause serious side effects, like a heart attack. When I was faced with this terrible choice, I decided to take it. "There's a reason for everything," I told her. "Let it be so if this is my time. I will take all of the medicines you suggest, even if it means I could have a heart attack." Because of how serious my choice was, the treatment started, which set off a chain of bad things. I was lost in a fog and sometimes couldn't remember who I was. In the middle of all this chaos, I had an almost fatal experience. What seemed like a normal dream at first quickly turned into something very strange. In my dream, I saw an old friend who was poor and had been fired from a restaurant job for not paying attention. In a huge, strange land, he told me, "I've finally found a place to live." I told them, "That's great. Let's go see it," they said, and that was the start of their trip into the unknown. If I closed my eyes and then opened them again, I was in front of a doorway. We weren't quite over the barrier yet. We were just at the entrance. As I sat with him and talked about an undefined subject, the space around me seemed to get smaller and smaller until I could hardly breathe. It hurt so much in my chest that I couldn't breathe. The medicines I'd been taking lately finally caught up with me. In the dream, I felt like I was having a heart attack, which made the pain even worse. "I can't take it anymore," I gasped. I could feel my life slipping away at that very moment. As soon as I said those words, he replied, "Yes, yes, 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 you're right. Let's go inside." I felt relieved. A deep sense of peace surrounded me as he opened the door. I took a step into a huge, empty space. The room was huge and went on forever in every direction. It was filled with a soft white light. Everything around us was white, like an endless landscape of peace. As we walked, we could see the large empty space in front of us. And while he walked next to me and talked, I looked to the right and saw something very interesting. On the right, there was a beautiful, bright divine light. It wasn't just bright. It pulsed with a lively, alive energy, as if it were filled with Holy Spirit. I had a hard time putting it into words. It was beyond language, a live light that seemed to breathe and ring with life. It came from above, and there was a queen-sized bed below it. Its meaning was vague but deep. My eyes kept going back to the bed and the light above it as we walked along. The light shined on everything and made it feel better. I felt like I was stuck between heaven and earth, on the edge of a higher world, and where I was at the moment. All of a sudden, a balcony materialized in front of me without any notice or handles to grab. From the edge, the view was terrible. Lava rocks and a dark, bad vibe. It felt like a deep, dangerous hole, and I was about to fall in. At that very important moment, my friend, the homeless man I see in real life, reached out and pulled me back from the edge, stopping me from falling very far. The scene changed a great deal. As I looked back, I told myself in a voice, "Wait a minute, I'm in a dream state. I'm actually resting in a hospital in Miami, and this is a different plane of existence." It became clear that my previous life had been very much like a dream. The world I had just left was very low vibrational, but this realm was very bright and real. Compared to how real this place felt, my 3D world seemed like a mere dream. Once I knew the truth, I felt a wave of comfort wash over me. Wow, I'm home, I thought. It felt like I woke up from a dream that had been going on for 21 years, my whole life on Earth. The brightness and energy of this new world were too much for me to handle. I felt like I had just woken up from a deep sleep. I saw dancing energy particles in the ground. It was a beautiful tapestry of reality that was much fuller and more lively than anything I had ever seen or known. When I looked to my left, I saw my great-grandmother sitting peacefully on the queen-sized bed, which was filled with bright light. She and my great-grandpa were together for 60 years before she died in 2006. They had many happy times together. As I got closer, I saw that she was sitting there in a soft, shimmery glow that seemed to cover her and the bed in a peaceful, sparkling aura. I could feel how deeply peaceful she was. It came from her like a gentle wave of calm that made my heart feel better. I was very interested and needed to understand something very badly at that very moment. One thought kept going through my mind. Had great-grandpa found his way to heaven? I didn't understand why this question kept coming up, since I could have asked so many others. Still, there was my main worry. As I looked into her eyes, which were filled with an ethereal peace, I struggled with the idea that we were communicating in a way that went beyond words. It was like we spoke the same language in this realm, one that didn't need words but could be understood through purpose and thought. I asked my question over and over, 5, 6, or even 7 times. Did great-grandpa go to heaven? Her answer was a soft, if a little confused, look. She seemed to be trying to understand and answer my question. It dawned on me that the way they were talking was more telepathic, through a shared mental picture rather than words. So I imagined my question, thinking that my goal would help us understand each other better. As soon as she understood what I was asking, she responded with a smile that was more serene and beautiful than any other expression I had ever seen. It looked like the light around her was glowing with approval, which meant that yes, great-grandpa had indeed reached heaven. It was like her light was echoing the proof I was looking for. The feeling that followed was hard to describe. As soon as the light touched me, I started to float and slowly rose. The feeling was so strong that it went beyond anything on earth. Imagine the happiest day of your life with the most joy, the best music, the tastiest food, the nicest smell, the least amount of pain, and the least amount of fear. Now imagine all of those things being 100 times better. That's how it felt. My body was filled with an overwhelming wave of love, happiness, and joy as I rose. With each step I took, the feeling got stronger. Everything around me became very bright, and every feature became clearer and sharper. I felt like I had a deep link to everything and knew it all. In this high state, I felt like I could understand everything. If I had asked about faraway planets or mythical animals, I would have had the answers right away. The feeling of not having any limits and being a part of the universe forever made time seem unimportant. Time seemed to stop in that place. At that point in time, the past, the present, and the future all seemed to blend together into one experience. I looked up and tried to figure out where the beautiful divine light that was surrounding me came from. During this amazing show, I begged, please, 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 don't take me back to Earth. The change was stark. I went from being in terrible pain, having inflammation, and having night sweats all the time to feeling completely happy. Everything will be fine, I felt a deep sense of comfort in that place beyond the stars. Your family will be okay. They'll be here with you. It was like the very fabric of reality was telling them, don't worry. Everything will be okay. You're at the right time and place. It doesn't matter where or what someone is doing. Their path is perfect. Right now is amazing, and the thought of going back to my old pain seemed impossible. My eyes were fixed on the light above, which was getting brighter and brighter. As I went up, the light got brighter and brighter until it was almost blinding. I was afraid that if I went any further, I would be lost in this realm forever. Feeling like a stronger force was stopping me from fully joining with the light, letting me enjoy its beauty but not leaving completely. I felt like I was balanced between heaven and earth, and the bright light was almost at its highest point. Then there was a voice coming from above, a voice that was neither human nor animal. It was an immaterial, voiceless entity that was filled with a beautiful peace and kindness. Not your time yet, the voice said softly. As soon as those words hit me, I knew I was leaving that peaceful place. It felt like you were floating away from heaven, but not quite back to earth. Before I knew it, I was hurtling through space at supersonic speeds, quickly passing through worlds. In an instant, I was back on Earth in South Florida, at Jackson Hospital in Miami. As if I had gone faster than light, all of a sudden I was back in my body. The change happened so quickly that it was like it happened in a flash. As soon as I woke up, seeing my family and doctors made me feel so much feeling. You died and came back, the doctor said, kept going through my thoughts. It felt like I woke up from a very vivid dream and slowly put together pieces of what I had dreamed. Oh my God, I thought. It looked like my guardian angels, my higher self, or maybe even God had decided to keep me from fully experiencing what I had been through, letting only bits of it come to the surface over time. After a week, I thought, oh my God, this is crazy. I remember everything that happened when I was gone, when I died. It was like a flood of information had been sent to my mind. This information was kept from me by my angels or higher self until I was ready to take it in. It was too much when it finally came to the surface. I remembered my experience very clearly, including the part where I met the poor man. The last time I saw him was more than a year ago, about 11 or 12 months before my near-death experience in November 2016. It's crazy, but I met him again around September or October 2017, 10 months later. My memories and time seemed to loop back on themselves, weaving through my experiences. It amazed me how complex life is. Before my close call with death, our talks were just like any other. They were about sports, money, and everyday life. We never talked about spirituality or the divine mysteries of life. He told me, oh wow, it's been a long time, when I saw him again. How are you? I didn't talk about my fight with leukemia, the time I came very close to dying, or the big changes that had happened in my life. I felt rushed and excited as he looked at me and said, oh my God, I have to tell you something that happened to me about 10 months ago. I was interested and told him, yeah, tell me. He then started to talk about a strange thing that happened to him around 3 o'clock or 3:30 a.m., a little more than 10 months ago. He talked about how something suddenly woke him up while he was sleeping at a bus stop. When he opened his eyes, he saw something that made no sense, an enormous angel made of light that was almost 10 feet tall. The angel stood in front of him with a huge holy sword in its hand and beautiful wings covering its body. The angel's presence sent out a protective and alert energy. He talked about how he blinked and rubbed his eyes because he couldn't believe what he saw. Even though he could feel the angel's presence, it disappeared as he tried to understand what he was seeing, leaving him speechless. When did this happen? And he said, late November 2016, the same time. The thought hit me like a lightning bolt. I couldn't help but get a chill as he talked. It dawned on me that while I was struggling to get from one place to another in the spirit world, an angel might have been watching over him on earth. Even though our experiences were different, they seemed to be linked in a cosmic dance of safety and revelation. Our stories happened at the same time, which was amazing. It felt like a deep proof of what I had seen to be true. The vastness of it all made me more sure that there is an amazing life after death. The way that events happened at the same time and our experiences came together made the truth of an afterlife clear in a way that words alone could not fully describe. A near-death experience can change the way someone thinks about life and death. A journey that changes you and often gives you deep insights and a new sense of meaning. For people who want to find their way through these new points of view and accept their own discoveries, Keeps provides an online subscription service that makes it easier and more supportive to explore these life-changing experiences.